Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're looking way past those tired old smart fridge cliches to uncover something, frankly, much more profound. We're going to map out this massive, invisible digital nervous system that is literally wrapping itself around our planet as we speak. This isn't just about consumer gadgets anymore. We are talking about a globally connected ecosystem that's projected to hit a mind-blowing $2.41 trillion in market value by 2034. It's totally transforming how we manufacture things, how we heal people, and how our very cities operate.
Okay, let's dive right into our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start by decoding the IoT buzzword. Then we'll look at the anatomy of IoT systems and the language of IoT. After that, we'll get into real-world IoT applications, check out some trends shaping the future, and finally wrap up with the challenges ahead.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, decoding the IoT buzzword. What exactly is the IoT?
So what exactly do we mean when we talk about the Internet of Things? Well, formally, it's a network of physical objects embedded with sensors, software, and communication technologies that exchange data without human involvement. Now, I want you to really notice that last part, without human involvement. That's the absolute crucial distinction here. Think about it. If you pull out your smartphone to turn on a smart light bulb, well, that's really just a fancy remote control. But if a sensor detects the room is empty and turns that light off all by itself to save energy, boom, that is true IoT in action. It's all about creating these autonomous, self-regulating systems.
And honestly, the sheer scale of this autonomous network is almost hard to wrap your head around. We are looking at a future where the number of active, connected devices is expected to double. We're talking over 40.6 billion devices by the year 2034. To put that into perspective, that's roughly 5 smart devices for every single human being on Earth. All of them constantly gathering, processing, and acting on data in real time.
So, how do billions of devices actually coordinate and work together? That brings us to Section 2, Anatomy of IoT Systems, and how these devices work together.
To really get this, it actually helps to think of the whole setup kind of like the human body. Down at the base of the architecture, you've got your sensors. These are basically the hands and eyes of the system out there in the physical world, actively collecting data, things like temperature, moisture, or motion. Moving up a level, we find the processors. You can think of these as the localized brain, sorting through that raw data to pull out valuable insights. Then we have the gateways. These act like the central nervous system, taking that processed data and routing it securely to where it needs to go. And finally, sitting at the very top, we have the applications. This is like the conscious mind of the whole operation. It's where we humans can step in, monitor the data on dashboards, and set the actual rules for automation.
But of course, for the hands, brain, and nervous system to work in perfect harmony, they actually need a way to talk to each other. Let's move on to Section 3, the language of IoT, and how devices communicate.
Here's the thing. Because IoT devices are usually tiny, running on small batteries, and operating on pretty constrained networks, they just can't handle the heavy, complex communication protocols our laptops use. Instead, they rely on super lightweight frameworks like the MQTT Publish-Subscribe framework. Imagine a tiny temperature sensor. It doesn't need to know who is listening to it. It just publishes its reading to a central message broker. Then any application that actually cares about the temperature just subscribes to that broker to get the update. It's incredibly fast, needs very little computing overhead, and is absolutely perfect for these constrained little devices.
Another totally essential language here is CoAP, or the Constrained Application Protocol. If we think of MQTT as sort of a radio broadcast, CoAP is more like a highly efficient text message conversation. It's this simple, web-like request and response protocol that's designed specifically to save bandwidth over wireless networks. This makes sure that even the smallest, most remote sensors out in the field can reliably ping their data without instantly draining their batteries.
Okay, so once these devices are chatting away, where does all that data actually go? Well, right now, we are seeing a massive shift from cloud computing over to edge computing. Traditional cloud computing means sending absolutely everything to some massive, centralized server for heavy analytics. But edge computing, that processes the data locally, right at the source where it's collected. Why is this such a big deal? Because processing at the edge eliminates the latency, the lag, of sending data back and forth across the internet. Plus, it drastically cuts costs by filtering out all that useless sensor noise right on site, meaning you only send the most valuable, actionable insights up to the cloud.
Understanding all this architecture is great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's explore Section 4, Real-World IoT Applications and IoT in Practice.
You see, IoT is quickly becoming the ultimate problem solver across almost every sector you can think of. In healthcare, remote monitoring devices are tracking patient vitals in real time, catching dangerous anomalies way before they become actual emergencies. Over in the industrial sector, which we call IIoT, by the way, sensors are optimizing factory operations and even predicting machine failures before they happen. Then you've got smart agriculture, using soil tracking to make sure crops get watered exactly when they need it, down to the drop. And we're seeing smart cities managing traffic flow to cut down on emissions, while transportation fleets use live logistics sensors to optimize their delivery routes on the fly.
And honestly, the underlying business value here is just phenomenal. As one of our sources points out, industrial automation is all about intelligent process control. The IoT doesn't depend on your hardware because you can choose independent control systems. So what does this actually mean for a business? It means IoT frees companies from being totally locked into one specific expensive hardware manufacturer. By programming functions right down at the individual sensor node level, businesses can radically optimize their resources and seriously slash their operational costs. It's a real game changer.
So, where is all this heading? Let's look at Section 5, Trends Shaping the Future, and the Evolution of IoT.
The development of this technology is moving at absolutely breakneck speed. Right now, in the present, we're seeing the rise of digital passports, which use IoT to enforce total supply chain transparency for things like regulatory and sustainability mandates. But looking just into the near future, we hit embedded AIoT. This is where artificial intelligence meets the Internet of Things, creating what are known as agentic sensors. These aren't just dumb sensors reporting data anymore, they're actually making autonomous decisions on the fly. And looking even further out, we're tracking the explosion of the digital twin market, which is projected to hit an unbelievable $471 billion. A digital twin involves creating perfect, real-time virtual simulations of physical assets. Imagine an entire virtual factory powered by live sensor data from the real one, allowing companies to run completely risk-free optimizations. It's wild stuff.
But it's definitely not all smooth sailing. We have to look at the darker side of this technology in Section 6, the challenges ahead, covering the risks and roadblocks.
Because the threats here are very, very real. First off, expanding our digital network to billions of physical devices creates a massive, unprecedented attack surface for hackers. Global cybersecurity liabilities are expected to reach $213 billion by 2025. Then there's the whole walled garden fragmentation issue. This happens when devices from different brands just flat out refuse to talk to each other, which severely limits their value. We're also facing a sort of analytical paralysis from data overload. The global data sphere is expected to hit 175 zettabytes soon. And critically, the physical footprint of all this tech is creating a looming environmental crisis. Global e-waste is on track to hit a staggering 82 million tons by 2030.
So, taking all that into account, the crucial point here is the sheer business risk involved in navigating this space. Despite all the incredible hype you hear, the data shows that a massive 76% of IoT projects actually fail to progress beyond the initial proof of concept stage. Only 24% succeed. Why is that failure rate so high? Well, it's largely due to a massive talent scarcity. Companies simply don't have people with the advanced data analytics and embedded security skills required to pull this off. Combine that with a totally understandable hesitation to commit the huge upfront capital needed for full-scale deployments, and you can see why so many projects stall out.
Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought to chew on. We are rapidly building this 40 billion device digital nervous system that will soon autonomously control our factories, manage our cities, and monitor our personal health. But as our physical world becomes entirely interconnected and automated, are we truly ready to secure it? It's a fascinating double-edged sword, and it's for sure going to define the next decade of technological progress. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring the absolutely incredible world of the Internet of Things.